guys, welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be the Q&A that I had up, I think it was 3 weeks ago. This is just the general Q&A. This is not going to be the men's Q&A, if you guys were wondering. But if you guys ever do have questions that come up along the way or throughout my posts, then please follow me on my Instagram and keep up to date with my stories so that you guys know when another one is coming and you guys can ask me whatever you guys want to ask me. But anyways, besides that, let's get into today's video. First question is how to overcome a breakup. I still get caught up with my feelings even when I know I shouldn't. It's hard. So to address any breakup, it's going to be hard. As for you saying that you shouldn't be, getting caught up in your feelings, that's a part of it. That's a huge part of it. And in my case, when I was going through what I went through, the biggest thing I did was I allowed myself to feel that way. Instead of feeling guilty for it, instead of feeling like I shouldn't be feeling these things, I allowed myself to sit in those feelings because you're supposed to feel it. If you ignore it, if you try to cover it up, it's just gonna come up later on down the road if you don't address it. So, it's okay that you feel or that you get caught up in your feelings. It's perfectly fine. But you need to sit there, address it, and also know, or not know, but also question yourself, sit with those feelings and bring to light, why do you still feel this way? For me, I sat in my feelings, and I think the biggest part was that I didn't make myself feel bad for it, so if I was telling myself at the moment, I still love and care about this person, I allowed myself to sit in it. Those feelings are valid. They're valid to me, and they're valid in this moment. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm not going to say that, no, you shouldn't be feeling that way. No, you shouldn't be thinking that way, because, it's valid. It's valid to you in the moment and what you're going through. So don't ever think that you shouldn't be, or that you should think a certain way or be a certain way. Sit in your feelings. To overcome any breakup, I don't think that there's a set system to it. Also, when you're going through a breakup, there are certain things that work for certain people. For me, I had a great support system. I had great friends that helped me along the way of getting through it. So for me, what helped me overcome my breakup was my friends. It was a support system I had. And if you don't have a support system, then there's always, you can always look into like seeing a therapist, having somebody to vent to talk to, and to be able to keep you on the right track, I think is the biggest thing. Also, no contact. If you guys do not have children together, I think a huge step is no contact. Do not talk to that person, do not text that person, because if you continue that relationship when you guys are apart, there is no way that you are going to be able to move on from it. And also having the understanding that this whole process of you going through your breakup, it is going to take time. Don't rush through it. Take as much time as you need, because honestly, coming from somebody who's been through it more than once, you are going to learn so much about yourself while you go through this. And there is so much growth that comes out of, I don't think people will notice this or see this when they're going through a breakup, but there is so much growth that happens when you're able to get through a hard time like this. So keep going, see the bigger picture to things, and just know that it's gonna take some time. So the next one is how to set expectations and boundaries when you leave a relationship but still co-parent. The biggest thing for this is to set your boundaries the moment you guys break up. If you do not set your boundaries from get-go, you will put yourself into such a bigger mess later on down the road that you do not want to be in. Trust me, it's gonna happen. In my case, I didn't set boundaries. That was just a fault on my part. And, I think the bigger thing is, what went through my head was, we've known each other our entire lives, like we're still family. which is fine. But it allowed me, you know, I was a people pleaser and I hated to tell people no. I wasn't the kind of person to put my foot down when this all happened. And now that I look back on it, it did create a lot more problems that could have been easily avoided if I had set the boundaries from the get-go. Overall, though, I would say co-parenting out of a relationship, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. It's never going to be easy. You guys will never always be on the same page. I give credit and kudos to people who can make it a civil and smooth ride. But for me, on my end and my experience, I would say that it has not always been easy. And I'm very proud of myself. You know, I'm proud at what I've said no to. I'm proud that I never allowed us to get back into the same cycle. Because I think that if I wasn't the person I am today and I was still the person that I was before, I would have, you know, the way things were going while we were co-parenting, I would have gotten back into a situation that would have been so hard to get back out of. And when it comes to boundaries, the biggest thing is to create them from the get-go. Keep it always about the kids. Because if not, if there are other conversations happening or comments or, you know, say the other person is wishy-washy or still wants to, you know, it's a mess. So the biggest thing is to set the boundaries from the get-go and always keep it about the kids. Don't talk about anything else. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard, especially if you've been with somebody for a very, very long time. It's hard to set that boundary, but set it, because if not, you're going to be in for a big mess later on down the road. And it's going to be hard to set boundaries after that, because once you allow it to happen, once you know, I mean, you could always later on set the boundary, but it's up to that person to respect it or not. And a lot of times, once that boundary has been crossed, no matter how much you say no or stop or no, we shouldn't be doing that or talking about that, it doesn't matter how many times you say it, the person will agree in that moment, you know, okay, yeah, you know, yeah, you're right. And then they could always just go back to same old behavior. So set the boundaries from the get-go when you guys first start co-parenting, because if not, it's going to be a lot harder to set those boundaries later on down the road. The next question is, what prompted you to start this journey? So I think I've explained this in my About Me video, but a big part of why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I've always known that I've wanted to do this. The realization came when I wanted to go into psychology, and I just knew that I wanted to help people. I wanted to, you know, be there for people, but what really pushed me was my breakup. Me going through what I went through and knowing that I went through a lot of shit in my life. I think when it went down, I looked back on my life and I thought to myself, oh my God, I mean, I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot more than a lot of other people have been through at my age, you know, and I think that's why a lot of people come to me for advice too, is because they know, like, I've been through some shit. But it was the breakup and me going through what I went through, and me just telling myself, you know, I need to help people out there who not have only been through breakups, but people who have gone through very hard times in their life, and be that hope that you can get out of it. You know, you can stop doing this to yourself. I think a lot of people say, well, why would you say that? You know, why would you say that you did that to yourself, or that you created those situations in your life? And I'm not saying that I created it, nor did I ask for it, but I had to step back and say, okay, all of this could have had happened to me, but I'm the one who has to make a choice of, well, now what am I going to do with it? You know, what am I going to do with my life regardless of what has happened to me? And I made the choice after so many years. People don't know how old I am. I'm 30 already. And I'm not saying I'm old. I don't think I'm old. But in a lot of people's books, they would say, oh my God, she woke up when she was 30. Yeah, I woke up at 30. And not even 30. I was 29 at the time. But it took me so many years of, and I would think in my mid-20s, my God, this is my life. This is my life. And it's not going to get any better. And this is just what it is. And I was about to settle for a life where I honestly wasn't happy. And what had happened to me woke me up. It woke me up and said, okay, well, do you want to continue doing this in your life? In 10 years, when you're 40 years old, do you want to keep doing this? And the biggest thing, and I will never forget this night, me and my ex would have big arguments. And sometimes his auntie and uncle, would get involved. Or I would reach out and talk to them. And I still remember this one conversation that I've had with his uncle. And he told me straight up, he said, this was when I was in my 20s, like early 20s. He told me, do you want to keep doing this? Because if you continue to do this, he's not ready to wake up now. He ain't ready to change now. And if you continue to do this, do you see yourself in 10 years being in this same position? I will never forget that conversation. Because there I was at 29, almost 10 years down the road in the same position. And that is the biggest question that I ask myself now is, is this where you want to be in 10 years from now? And if the answer is no, wake up and change your shit. And I think that what made me start this journey was just me going through it, me going through hard times in my life, and me going through one of the biggest and hardest times of my life and getting through it. And knowing deep down that I was capable of doing this. This whole time I thought I would never be able to get through something like this or make something out of myself out of this. But I did, so there is hope. And I want to be that hope for everybody else. I want people to know that happiness is a real thing. You may think you're happy now, but wait until you are by yourself. Wait until you have this time for yourself, and you will know what true happiness is. My whole life I thought, okay, well, I'm happy. I didn't learn what true happiness was until I was by myself, until I learned how to love myself. And I would say, years ago, like, yeah, I love myself. I love myself. No ways. I look back on myself back then, and I did not love myself, not even the slightest. And once I learned to find happiness by myself, my God, my whole entire life changed. My whole life changed. My whole perspective on life changed. Just myself as a person just changed, and it grew. And I feel that everybody can gain something out of finding their happiness, healing from whatever they're trying to get through, or just, loving themselves. There's so much that comes out of it. And I want to be the person to help people do this. I think a huge thing too, when I wanted to start this whole thing, was that I wanted to be real. I didn't want to be fake. I didn't want to say like, yeah, self-love is everything and, healing is easy and no. I wanted to be raw and real with my content. And I wanted to let people know, hey, I'm not perfect. Even though all these things were done to me, I'm the furthest thing from perfect. A lot of the problems were other people. Some of the problems were me. And I just wanted people to know that, healing isn't a one-way thing. Finding yourself isn't a one-way thing. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up. But we're human. And that's the biggest thing. But I started this journey because I went through some stuff, and I wanted to be able to help other people go through whatever they're going through. I can't get over my first love Since then, I have never been in a relationship. I think the biggest question for this one is, are you putting your entire life on hold? And if so, I have a video for that. But I think that you haven't let go. And that is what has kept you from getting into a relationship with anybody else. So the advice that I'd have for you is that if there is no time soon that this relationship is going to reconcile, you have to move on. Because from the sounds of it, it sounds like you're putting your life on hold, waiting around for someday, one day. You can love somebody, you can care about somebody, like I've said a million times before, but that doesn't mean that they have to be a part of your life. And there comes a point in your life when you're gonna sit there and say, well, what am I doing? You know, I'm revolving my whole life around the fact that I can't get over somebody. But you can get over them. You just haven't made the choice to. So that's the difference there. You know, you are able to get over somebody. You're the one who has to make the choice to say, I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to be done, and I'm ready to move on with my life. I'm not saying that you should go and try and date around or whatever it is. But what I'm saying is that you need to overall do what's best for you. And waiting around for somebody, or waiting for one day, or holding yourself back from ever dating anybody else and not letting go of this relationship or this person, you're holding yourself back. You're holding yourself back from so much. And you can take all of that time that you're spending not, resisting, not wanting to give up, not wanting to accept this, and put it into yourself. Work on yourself, there's so much that you can do instead of just living in this, what is the word for it? This limbo, because from the sounds of it, that's what I'm getting from this. When you're telling me that you can't get over it and you haven't been in a relationship, you can get over it, but you ultimately have to make the choice that you're ready to let go of it, that you want to let go of it. And I think a lot of us, we label our first loves and say, well, that was my first love, that'll be my only love. But take it from me, who has been there. I mean, I'd say that the first person I've ever said I love you to was, gosh, how old were we? I think it was a 2-year relationship, 7th grade. That was my first love. And I thought I was going to marry him and have kids with him and all this, glorious things. And none of that happened. But you got to get over it. You have to make the choice for yourself that you're ready to let it go. You're ready to move on. And you're ready to just, even if you don't want to, if you haven't dated yet, you're ready to just focus on yourself. You're ready to move on with your life, because you're ultimately, when you say you can't let go, you're holding on to something still. And to me, how I look at it is, it's resistance. You're resisting the fact that you need to just let it go. Don't say you can't get over it. You can. You just have to make the choice that you want to. So that was it for today's video. If you guys ever have any other questions that come up, then please don't forget to follow me. Keep up to date with my stories on my Instagram so that you guys know when another one of these is coming up. But other than that, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.